Everybody, good evening. Thank you so much for joining. Did everybody manage to receive the little aroma sticks?
Yes, lovely. Thank you, Laura.
Oh, fab. I'm so pleased. This is my first aroma workshop that I've ever held, even though I've worked with them for decades. So forgive me if it's a little bit shabby.
Hopefully, we're happy guinea pigs.
Good. Hopefully it will flow nicely. So thank you for joining me. Did everybody already see the pre-introduction that I did with Stella a couple of weeks ago? Yeah, okay, so I guess that would be the case. So I'll try not to repeat too much of like the oat bath and bits and bobs like that. I might touch on it. So just before we begin, just a very brief safety overview. Essential oils and aromatherapy are so much fun, working with them, smelling with them, diffusing them, but there are some occasions you have to take extra care. So it would be remiss of me not to just preempt this meeting with that. And that particularly is around pregnancy. So even if you're not pregnant yourself, but you're diffusing oils in the presence of somebody who is pregnant or somebody who is taking medication that may have an interaction with some of the essential oils, it's always best to be really cautious around that, as well as children and the elderly. The essential oils that I selected today to talk about are generally regarded as safe. So I've tried to delete the ones that don't interact well with homeopathy and other sorts of medications. So they're pretty safe. But I would say that they always need to be diluted on the skin before you apply them. So other than smelling them like we're going to do today, if you want to work with them, it's best to dilute them with a base oil or a carrier oil before you put them in the bath or before you put them on your skin. Just because they're probably between 75 and 100 times more potent than the dried herb equivalent, for example. So they're extremely concentrated, and it's the same reason I use for not really recommending that you take them internally. I know that with some essential oils you can do, and certainly if you qualify in France, where aromatherapy is a whole different ball game, you're often qualified as a herbalist as well, then they have the ability to prescribe you to take in essential oils internally, but it's not something I'm familiar with or qualified in, so I'll skip that. So the 5 essential oils we're going to talk about today are geranium, a great balancer, and
I love it.
Love it. We're going to move on to frankincense, one of the most serious of the essential oils. Moving through then into Roman chamomile, a beautiful English herb, followed by cardamon, a wonderful warming focal essential oil, and finishing with Chang, which is an uplifting essential oil. And you should have a little bonus extra in your kit, which is Meditative, which if we've got time to do at the end, I'll give you a quick overview of that. I included it because I couldn't believe I forgot to include it in both sessions, and it's just a fantastic essential oil. So I'm going to talk to you if I can about that. So just before we begin with geranium, when you use the nasal inhalers for aromatherapy purpose, it's not like using the old Vicks inhaler or Albert oil where you close one nostril and you take a deep breath in. I'm not recommending that. The best way to work with it is to just gently waft the aroma inhaler underneath your nose. So if you want to select geranium, it should be a pink one for you, I think. Dark pink or light pink. And I'm going to swap because mine's patchouli and it's spinning me out as being the wrong essential oil smell. Here we go, geranium. So you just waft it under your nose and sit with it for a moment. So it takes about 30 seconds for it to get into your limbic system and into your body. I'm just reading a little message there saying it's a little bit noisy. I hope it's not me echoing too much.
Bit of an echo, yeah.
Is there? I'm not sure.
It's because we're all on speaker, probably not on mute.
Should we be muted?
Are we muted?
Should we mute?
Yes. Let us.
Oh.
Well,
You can unmute yourself as you go along, can't you? Just say, don't just listen to me go on and on and on. I'm sure it'd be really hard work to do that. Is that better though? Am I less echoey? Can I get a thumbs up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, guys. Yes, so we were at wafting, weren't we? And it takes about 30 seconds when you inhale the essential oil to get through your olfactory bulb, which will tell you whether or not you've smelt this before. And it's linked to the limbic system, which is also your seat of your emotions. So give your brain about 30 seconds to tell you whether it's smelt this before, whether it's referencing something that smells familiar, because essential oils can have up to 200 different components and a lot of them overlap. So you might think, oh, it's similar to rose or it's similar to camphor. And then if you want to, take a break from it and just come back to it, but try and sort of sit with it and think how it makes you feel. Does it make you feel happy? Is it sedating, or is it uplifting? And it's quite nice to do that for each oil before I then start telling you what it is doing physiologically, because we're all different and we'll all react to it differently depending on the memories we have associated with it. So geranium is one of my all-time favorite essential oils. I would never want to be without geranium, especially if you're traveling. I find it absolutely brilliant. And the key word for geranium, really, if there's one, is equilibrium or balance. And that's both for physical and for emotional support. What do I mean by that? So firstly, the physical. Geranium essential oil is a great balancer of water in your body. So considering we're about 75 or 70% water, is pretty important or useful to have the water balanced. And sometimes, especially after a flight, you tend to get swollen ankles, or you tend to, if you're anything like me, I've got heavy legs generally anyway, or you may have bloating and water retention around the tummy. So geranium will act as a very, very mild diuretic to help rebalance the water levels in your body and keep the lymph nice and clean and clear and running really, really beautifully. Also, in terms of balance, I would put geranium in my top 3 for skincare. And in 30 years of looking after skin, I've very rarely seen a skin that is one type, i.e. just dry or just dehydrated. There's always a little bit of something going on. So geranium I reach for to really balance the skin. And it's particularly good if you've got high color or broken capillaries. It's also good for broken veins on the body as well. But on the face, especially if you tend to flush easily, or you just have some high color generally. A mild solution of geranium essential oil in a beautiful quality base oil is an excellent way to balance and keep the skin beautifully glowing and healthy. And the final balance on the physical level that I would suggest is good is the emotional balance. So the mood swings. It's very, very good at supporting your adrenal cortex. So very, very good at managing hormones. So at times of PMT or menopause, geranium is really supportive in helping to keep the balance of the hormones in the body as well. In terms of more emotional side, which is the kind of way I've swayed towards using the essentials more and more for support, I found that geranium is a great oil for holding your hand and allowing you to get used to change or to go through transition. So what I mean by that is if you are having a change of job, if you are retiring, if there is some big move in your life, if you're moving home, geranium oil is really great to hold your hand through it and support you. And it's also excellent at helping you process some of the more difficult emotions. So it resonates with the heart chakra, if any of you are kind of au fait with that system, that energy system. And that means it kind of opens your heart to all possibilities, and it opens your heart to processing emotions such as envy or jealousy, frustration, geranium's really, really good at helping with those types of emotions. So in terms of perfumery, it's a heart note, it's a center note. So it's always very good in any or most blends. So it blends with most things, like, for example, it's beautiful with lavender. In fact, you could use it on the skin with 1 drop of lavender, 1 drop of geranium in maybe about 10 drops, 10 mils of carrier oil, just so it's a really light, mild solution. Or you could mix it with my next essential oil, which is frankincense, which is also in my top 3 for skincare, as it's so rejuvenating for the complexion as well. So before I move on to frankincense, are there any questions, or is there any feedback about frankincense? I'd hate this all to be one way. Sorry, not frankincense, geranium. I'd hate it all to be one way.
Laura, can I just ask you, when you said about skincare and you said high colour, what about pigmentation? Is that something that would help with it or not?
Not so much, no. Pigmentation is probably better with something like Roman chamomile. I mean, it won't harm, but yeah, the pigmentation is really difficult to treat generally. Yeah, when I meant high colour, I meant more the sort of broken veins and capillaries. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Jocelyn, did you have a question? Were you about to say something as well?
No, I find it quite invigorating. It's a bit like, did you say camphor?
It is camphorous, isn't it? It has got some of that in it. Yeah, it's quite green.
Yeah.
And floral. Oh, I forgot to say, if for anybody who's got knowledge of essential oils already, there's something called geranium, I think it's pronounced bourbon or bourbon, which is supposed to be the best quality essential oil. It comes from an island in the Pacific. And I'm excited to share with you that the one that I've sent out to you is that essential oil. So it is the highest quality bourbon essential oil of geranium, rose geranium. All I can tell the difference of, if I'm honest, with other geraniums is other geraniums tend to smell a bit more camphorous and a bit greener, a bit mintier, whereas this one, the bourbon, smells more rosy and a little bit softer. So it's the one they use in perfumery quite often as well, if that makes sense. So I hope you enjoy it, and it'll be nice for you to compare as well if you do get a regular one. I'm sorry.
Laura, could I sorry, go on. Can I just ask if this one is safe with pregnancy? You mentioned hormones and balancing with hormones. I wondered whether it was safe in pregnancy.
I would always avoid the first trimester with pregnancy.
Yeah.
Full stop. And I would always advise you speak to your healthcare professional or your GP about your individual case with pregnancy, because no trials have ever been done with pregnancy, Caroline. So it's generally considered safe, which is kind of why I've chosen it. But I would check in with your health team for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
My pleasure. Amina?
Yes, sorry, I just wanted to say, yes, I can really, the scent is very different to the one I have at home. And it does smell almost like florally a little bit. And yeah, it's just beautiful. I love it. So is it called, is it a rose bourbon you were saying? Is that the name of the?
Yeah, BOURBON. And the one that I've got is from Oshadi, who are on my, you'll get a list, everyone will get a list of where to buy.
Oh, fantastic.
So that is a good one. On that note of being rosy, often when you go to buy rose essential oil, not often, sorry, sometimes they will cut and they will dilute rose. Because rose costs about £400 for half a teaspoon, and geranium costs about £4 for half a teaspoon, but smells similar, they will try and cut it. So always when you're buying essential oils, buy it with a Latin name on the bottle, so that you can tell it's 100% rose or 100% bourbon geranium. And that's sort of getting into it a bit much, really. So let's move on to frankincense. One of the most famous essential oils. I've got some real frankincense here to show you if you've never seen it. So it's a resin that comes from the, I think it's pronounced Olibatum tree. So I think its name means fragrant soap. So what you can still do, and what often happens, is you can put the actual resin on a charcoal block, excuse me, and the smoke that comes up from that is highly perfumed with frankincense, and is still used to this day to prepare a space for meditation or prayer. It's often used in temples and ceremonies, isn't it? I think even the Catholic Church still swing around the frankincense in their rituals as well. So it goes back to ancient times with its history. And I would say, I've got a little catchphrase, which is, if in doubt, get frankincense out, because it's a very safe essential oil. You can smell it's got quite a clear, woody, camphorous note again, quite balsamic, is that the word? Quite woody, quite fresh and clean. And the frankincense you've got here is frankincense Carteret, which is one of the most popular frankincenses. And why I say, if in doubt, get frankincense out, there's so many good things about frankincense. It is quite serious. So it is the essential oil we go to for depression or grief or loss. It has the most amazing expansive properties. So it resonates with your crown chakra, which gives you a connection to the divine, or whatever you like to call it. So great if you are into meditation or yoga. Very good to actually use if you are hosting a yoga session or a workshop, because of its safety, and it kind of holds the space as well for people. It's very, very good at that. In terms of grief and loss, it helps with letting go. So if there's maybe some unprocessed emotion, or there's some trapped emotion, it's really, really good at releasing that. The same with sort of ties to the past as well. If you're trying to move on from someone or something, frankincense can really be quite cutting and quite freeing in that way. It does offer comfort and joy, just to link it in with the whole Christmas thing, the carol thing, and it is mildly euphoric. So unlike clary sage, which will send you up at 1,000 miles at a time, frankincense will gently lift your spirit, I want to say, lift your mood, lift your soul, if you understand my drift. It's quite protective as well. So if you're working through some tricky emotions, it's quite protective of you, if that makes sense. Very good at, I'm just looking at my notes, making sure I'm not forgetting it, comforting. And whereas a lot of essential oils are very good at calming you down and giving support to sort of low-level anxiety, I would say that frankincense is the one that's good for panic. So I have to say, if you are somebody who is prone to the odd dramatic grip of anxiety or panic, have your little inhaler with you, your personal aroma inhaler, because it can just bring you back together a little bit and minimize that panic. It's almost like, you know, when they give you a paper bag to breathe in when you're hyperventilating, it's that kind of situation for you. So very good if you're scared to get in a lift and you have to, that kind of thing. Really, really good to help with spikes in panic and worry. I mentioned that it's really great for skincare. It's one of the most rejuvenating anti-aging essential oils. So maybe go back to 1 drop of rose. That would be nice, wouldn't it? 1 drop of geranium, 1 drop of frankincense, and it really helps to rejuvenate a dull skin, a tired skin, and bring about more of a firming, supportive action for the complexion as well. I like to mix this with the salts. I think I spoke to you before about salt baths, where you can just get your magnesium salts, your Epsom salts, or your Himalayan salts. And just for anybody that didn't see it, I tend to take about a handful. So, and then you mix your essential oil with the base. So you take maybe 10 ml of base oil and pop in your essential oils, mix it in with the salt, give it a stir, and then put that in your bath. That really helps the essential oils to cling to your skin because you've blended it with a base oil. And then you can also find that the salt will act as a very, very restorative action, very good for helping remineralize the skin. And I find it really good for pain relief using a salt bath. I'm sure many of you have used salt baths before. So frankincense is great to mix in with a bath as well.
Laura,
Yeah,
sorry, so with the bath, so you've got your salts, which I've had, which are great, but with the way you do it, you've got the salts in, and then you've got base oil, 10 mils of base oil. So that would be how many drops of your frankincense? 2?
Thank you for asking, Rosie. Yeah, I'd say a maximum of 5.
That's fine. Right, thank you. I'll just take a note. That's great. And mix the whole lot.
Yeah, mix the oil and the frankincense. So 10 mil of oil, 5 mil of frankincense, let's say, or you might want 2 geranium, 2 frankincense, and 1 Roman chamomile.
Yeah.
Mix that, yeah, add it to the salt in your little pot, give it a stir, and then put the whole lot in the bath.
Yeah, lovely. Okay.
Yeah. Or put half of it in with the salt, and then you've got half left over to apply after the bath as a lotion.
Or the next night or whatever. Okay, thanks, Laura.
My pleasure. On that note about blending, it can get so complex and so complicated where you can have 3% for this oil and 5% for that. So I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. And if you don't go over a 2.5% blend, which is half the amount of drops to the amount of base oil you use. So if you've got 50 mil of oil, base oil, you can add a maximum of 25 drops of essential oil, especially the ones I've talked about, and they'll be fine. Absolutely fine for you. So, and any other feedback or thoughts on frankincense?
Yeah, Laura, I was going to ask you a question about salts.
Yeah,
and the mixture. It sounds lovely, and I would love to do that, but I don't have a bath. So is there a way that I could use that mixture and use it in the shower?
Yeah, you can use it as a scrub, Sheena. So you want to get a slightly finer salt. If you can, and mix it together. You might want to use a bit more base oil as well, so it's easier to pick up, and massage it onto your damp skin, and that will impart the essential oils and the salt action all in one, and then you can just shower it off.
Excellent, very good.
On the note of salt, obviously be careful if you've got high blood pressure or any broken skin, because it will sting like going in the sea, won't it? But that's obviously
I'll give that a go.
You can also just use the essential oils in the shower without the salt. So you can, and I would in that way apply them to the torso of the body, so where your main organs are, and around the neck, so that you can smell it. Apply that before you get in the shower.
Diluted.
Yeah, always diluted with your base oil. Yeah, thank you. And then shower off and wash, etc. after that. But it will still have a great action on your skin.
Great, thank you very much.
Your pleasure. Shall we move on to chamomile? Roman chamomile. So let's sit with Roman chamomile for a little while. How am I doing for time? Great, halfway. So I would say crisp, slightly fruity. Don't know if you'd agree with that. In Greek, it's known as ground apple. So maybe it's reminiscent of apples. Don't know. For you, I always think it's a bit hay-like, you know, fresh hay as well. So quite herbaceous, quite sweet. Bees hate it, but lots of humans love it. And we used to use it on lawns, didn't we? Lovely chamomile lawn. The more you tread, the more it spreads, I think, is the thing. It kind of goes everywhere. And in the same way, it kind of spreads joy and happiness. It's a very calming essential oil. And I think even from me sniffing it now, actually, it's working already. It's quietened me down a little bit and calmed me down. Should have used it at the beginning. It's packed full of something called esters. It's 80% esters, which means that it has a great affinity with your skin. So if you've got a delicate skin or a sensitive skin, chamomile is a brilliant essential oil to use for your skincare, because it has that great ability to be absorbed into the skin. But really, it's the best essential oil, or one of the best essential oils to go to for a kind of laissez-faire attitude, you know, if a sort of a whatever situation. So if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed and you're feeling a bit, I've had enough of this, sit with chamomile and just allow it to wash over you, wash your cares away nice and gently. relax you and calm you, because that's what it's really, really good at doing. It's also a great choice if you suffer with poor sleep. Now, my oil for knocking you out to sleep is a different one, which I'll tell you about later. But chamomile enables you to kind of stay asleep. So if your problem is waking up a lot in the night, chamomile may just help you to stay asleep a little bit longer. So it's a great oil to diffuse in your bedroom. And by diffuse, I mean you can either get one of those electric burners that you can buy in all sorts of places. I think Neom do a really nice one. Neil's Yard do loads of them. Or I'm an old-fashioned gal. I've got one burning in the background there that's using the tea light, just because I love the element of fire, you know, to heat the essential oil gently. So you can diffuse chamomile in your bedroom to create a really nice, calming, relaxing atmosphere before sleep. Good to ease irritability and anxiety a little bit as well. Good for headaches. Really, really good for headaches, actually. It's very clearing and calming. Keep using that more. Peaceful, I think, is a good one.
It all matches the values of chamomile tea.
Oh, of course. Yeah, of course it does. Yes.
I mean, not everybody likes the taste of chamomile tea, but the qualities are very similar.
Agree. It can be a bit bitter to taste, can't it? Chamomile tea.
Yes, just a bit. Yeah. Bit of grass or whatever, you know.
Exactly. Actually, you can use once you've had your chamomile tea, if you save the tea bags and pop them in the fridge or freezer, they make great little iPads to take down puffiness. I do anything for my eyes at the moment. I haven't got any eyelashes at the moment, so anything that helps sort of calm them and take away the irritation is really good. So chamomile tea bags in the fridge, pretty good. Yeah. I have heard that chamomile is really good for eczema as well, but everybody's individual, and always just use a very little amount if you're treating something like eczema or dermatitis. It would be really good. Any other thoughts on chamomile?
I've got one here actually, chamomile tea, and it takes really well to get used to. It does, the taste, but I got the Twinings one recently and I had it for a few nights, and the more I had it, the more I got to like it. And it's really good in the evening, I think, after you've eaten and then you want to calm before you sleep.
Yeah.
It's very good. So that I'm sure that this will have a similar effect. Well, that's the wrong one. That's it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Another type of chamomile called German chamomile, which is very high in something called azulene, which is even more calming and soothing. But curiously, it can cause headaches and a little bit of sensitivity, which is weird, isn't it? So I would always go for the Roman chamomile. It's a little bit safer than German chamomile, although they're both beautiful. Excellent.
Can I just ask you, when you put the oil in the diffuser, how much of that should you use?
It really depends on the manufacturer, actually, because they're all different vat sizes, if you know what I mean. As a general rule, I'm guessing between 5 and 8. And you put them in direct, so you don't have to pre-blend them in base oil first of all. Normally for diffusers, you just drop them into the water that's in the vat of the diffuser. So check the manufacturer, but normally 8 to 10. I mean, if you go for 20, you'll smell it massively. But be careful, because unfortunately, if you get a sensitization to an essential oil, it'll never go away, and it'll keep coming back every time you come into contact with that same essential oil, or even one that contains similar components, and it's a real bind and a real shame. So yeah, try not to sort of overuse the essential oils too much. For sure. Okay. If you don't want to diffuse, what I sometimes do is put it on a tissue or a cotton pad next to my bed or next to my pillow. That's a very gentle way of getting the essential oils into you, especially before sleep.
How could we do these? How can we do? This is great, isn't it? To just have that near you.
Honestly, I know they're not, the most attractive thing in the world, but I like it because they're so personal.
Yeah.
So if you are having a bit of a moment before a meeting or something, you can just have a little waft. So these are on Amazon. They're simply on Amazon, and they come in 3 components. So the lid, the inhaler, actually there's a little thing that seals it there, and then inside is the cotton, and you just drop 3 to 5 drops of the essential oil on the cotton, click it together, and you've got your inhaler. So they're just search nasal inhaler, I think they're called, unattractively, on Amazon.
Can we reuse these then?
Well, you can. Some of them come with what's supposed to be a tool to help you take the lid off once you put it on. It's so, honestly, it's so difficult to do. Right. For the sake of the price that they are, I just get a new inhaler. Okay. And rather than try and get the base off it again. But they say you can. Perhaps there's a knack that I haven't managed yet. They're really nice if you get into it, to putting a blend on there. So if you wanted chamomile and lavender and geranium, for example, for a beautiful personal fragrance or a beautiful de-stressing blend, that's a great way to do it, because you can put as many essential oil drops on that as you like, really. Yeah. Okay, so I'll move on to the next one, which is cardamom. Cardamon or cardamom. Believe me, just for this session, I was getting obsessed, because I have to be correct. I've been on the Oxford English Dictionary, I've been on Wikipedia, I've been on all essential oil sites, and nobody can tell me which it is. So I'm guessing it's like focused. It can be cardamon or cardamom. It doesn't seem to make any difference. But cardamom is a beautiful, warming, it's the queen of spices essential oil. It's often chewed, the little seeds are chewed to sweeten the breath, but and obviously cardamom is a famous spice to use in cooking. But in terms of the essential oil, it's a brilliant digestive. So on a physical level, if you've got tummy ache, if you've got upset tummy, even anxious, nervous, fluttery, butterfly tummy, cardamom will help to calm that and will act as a great digestive if you've got any problems in that area. So you could physically massage it onto the belly, onto the abdomen, if you're really troubled in that way. Really, really beautiful, obviously diluted. What I love about cardamom is how it bridges other essential oils. It's the most flexible essential oil I've ever come across, really. So to give you an example, if you mix it with one of the citrus oils, so sweet orange, tangerine, mandarin, something like that, it really gives you focus. So if you've got scattered thoughts, or if you're trying to study, you're trying to concentrate on something and it's all going on around you, essential oil of cardamom, especially blended with citrus, will give you energy and focus and clarity of thought, really, really clearing your thoughts. Whereas if you mix it with maybe another spice, such as ginger, it really embraces you in like one of the most gorgeous hugs ever. It's like very, very mothering, kind of nurturing essential oil in that way when it's blended with a spice. Really beautiful, and yeah, like a hug really. And we all need some of those lately because they've been off the menu for a while, haven't they? I find it is another beautiful oil to diffuse because it smells kind of homely. It smells, yeah, although it's energizing, it's also quite relaxing. It's almost like an adaptogenic, isn't it? It kind of does both things, really. A great one to have at work for confidence and motivation. So it will really help to not only give you concentration, but give you a bit of zip, a bit of concentration and focus as well. Good for mental refreshment. So good for exams and all of that kind of thing. Good for direction. Really nice in fragrance work. So if you're looking to design your own kind of perfume, it blends beautifully with the floral oils as well. And lovely to add into, when I had long hair conditioner. I'm always cautious about recommending you adding essential oils to shampoo just because of the risk of it going in your eyes. But with conditioner, where you can just pull it through the ends and wash it out, if you can find a fragrance-free conditioner and add a drop or two of cardamom, gives it a kind of exotic smell. Mix it with ylang-ylang and it's incredible, absolutely beautiful. So yeah, Any thoughts on cardamom?
Well, we use cardamom in milk a lot, and any milky, and normally if you can't sleep, you'd always have nutmeg and cardamom in milk and drink it.
How beautiful, Jesus.
So in a lot of Indian sweets have a lot of cardamom, a lot of ginger and black pepper type things, you know, all warming stuff, and almonds apparently.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It reminds me, actually, reminded me of chai tea latte.
That's it.
That, isn't it? Yeah.
So we make our own blend of the spice at home. So we always have nutmeg, you have cloves, you have cinnamon, you have ginger and cardamom.
How amazing and beautiful.
And yeah, every home has a different blend, and depending, some people like more cardamom, some people like more ginger, you make it accordingly.
How beautiful.
But it just reminds me of all the Indian sweets.
I would echo that. I love cardamom pods in rice.
Yes.
I love a rice dish.
Yeah, biryanis.
Lebanese, more Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
And you bite into the rice and you bite into some cardamom, and it's just lovely. But it's warming, it's nurturing, all those things.
Very homely. Oh, I love it. And actually it would make a great companion to the oat bath, which I'll just show you for anybody who didn't see it before. In this little pack, you've got a tiny muslin bag, which if you want to, you can make an oat bath out of. So you just literally put porridge oats in the bag, blend whatever essential oil you want together with some base oils. So cardamom would be great. And then you pop it in the bath after the steam has cleared, or after you've run the bath. Oh, do you know what? This isn't going to work very well because this water's gone cold. Oh, it's happening a little bit. You can see
it's cloudy.
It's coming through there. Yeah. So the milk in the oats will give you the most luxurious, softening, skin softening action ever. Absolutely incredible. And then with cardamom, it would be like having your chai tea latte in the bath.
I'm hungry.
Yeah. Even more blissful, frankly.
Yeah.
And I bet if you add ylang-ylang to that mix, it would be absolutely beautiful and quite goddess-like, I would say. Yeah. So, fabulous. Okay. What else can I tell you about cardamom? It's a middle note and it resonates with the planet Mercury. Oh my goodness, I've forgotten to tell you about planets as we go along. That's all about data download and information. So that's all syncs with the whole study type of thing. And it resonates with the sacral chakra. So it's very friendly. Sacral chakra is all about friendship. And so cardamom can help with relationships, but particularly friendships, and deepening that. So that's a lovely aspect of cardamom as well. Really lovely. Okay, we're on to the last one already. So, well, we're not, because we've got vetiver in the wings. So the next one to talk to you about is Mei Chang, which is Lipsy cubeba. Sometimes when you Google it, Mei Chang will always come up. An unusual essential oil, but I wanted to put a sort of fruity citrus in there. And this is, although it is a fruit, we actually use the leaves of a tree, I believe, for this one. It's a tree from Asia. And whilst you can smell the citrus, it's a little bit more rounded. It's a little bit softer, I think you'll agree. It's kind of opaque in my mind, whereas tangerine and mandarin would be translucent. This is more opaque. There's more depth to it, if that makes sense. But it's still a top note, which in perfumery means it evaporates the most quickly. So you get a hit of it first, and then it tends to wear off, whereas the middle note will come in and last much longer, and the base note will be like a fixative and will last the very longest. So a really beautiful top note. It's actually a relative of cinnamon. Not that you'd know that. It smells more like lemon balm, which it's no association with whatsoever. It just smells a little bit like that. again resonates with the sacral chakra. I have put a note to myself here that it can be a little bit irritating on some skins, so I wouldn't necessarily use it on the face, but it's a great essential oil to use in your body lotion and specifically in foot baths or foot creams. It has natural deodorant properties. So if you ever have kind of summer moments, I'm going to call them that, hot flushes, etc., it's really nice that you've got something beautifully smelling to deal with that, really. I love it because it will bring brightness to any situation. It's a real happy oil, really uplifting, really refreshing, really zingy. Great for giving you a sense of joyfulness again, and particularly for bringing about a youthful perspective. So it's not quite the elixir of youth, I'm afraid I don't have that, but it definitely helps you feel young at heart, playful, joyful, and reminds you to lighten up a little bit. So if you're in serious mode the whole time and you get to the weekend and you want to lighten up, lighten the load, Mei Chang is a great way to help you do that. Really, really happy. Monica, are you about to say something? No.
No, I just suddenly realized I wasn't on mute and I bet him. I bet him mute.
Okay, I see. Mei Chang is also very good for fatigue. So I use it when I want to get what I call a second wind. Do people still say that these days? A second wind? So you've had a really big full-on day and you've got an evening event to go to. Mei Chang helps you kind of keep going and give you a second boost of energy. So whether you flag at 3 o'clock in the afternoon or 7 o'clock at night, Mei Chang in your essential oil diffuser is a great booster to your energy when it starts to flag. If your energy is flagging in the morning, you probably need more geranium in your life than Mei Chang, because that's a sign of adrenal fatigue if you're waking up tired. So you want to use a bit more of a geranium essential oil rather than this. But definitely keeps the spirit young, keeps any blend that you make uplifted, even if you blend it with something like frankincense. If you want the joy and the comfort of frankincense to be enhanced, then something like Mei Chang will do that for you. Just lift it a little bit more and enhance its euphoric qualities.
Laura, I have got a question actually. You say it's reminiscent of lemon balm, which it is, but no relation of. Is there an essential oil of lemon balm?
Yes, it's called Melissa. Yeah,
Melissa.
And it's really
different properties.
Yes, different properties. Yeah, it's much calmer and soother. It's also about 50 times the price as well. It's really expensive. Yeah, the expensive essential oils are beautiful. So rose is the most expensive, and actually, the amount of rose petals it takes to make it is why it's so expensive. But if you ever want to invest in rose essential oil, it's worth it in my opinion, because it's absolutely the queen of essential oils. I could do a whole talk on that. Neroli is also very expensive. It's like the king of essential oils.
Yep.
That has an extremely high vibration, so it really clears and lifts your spirit. It's amazing. And Melissa's pretty pricey as well. So those three I would put as the most expensive. And jasmine. Sorry, I forgot about jasmine. My goodness, and that's very, very expensive. Just the amount of plant material it takes to make it is why.
Excuse me, Laura, once you get these essential oils, how long can you keep them?
Thank you for asking that, because with citrus oils, only about 6 months. They go off really quickly. And you'll know if they go off because you'll smell them. They'll smell off. They will smell kind of rancid. If you get that, just ditch it, bin it. There's no good in it anymore. It's gone. So keep your essential oils in the bottle that they come in, and keep them cool and dark if you can, to give them the most longevity of life. Other essential oils last a lot longer, especially the base oils like sandalwood or frankincense, vetiver. Sometimes they actually get better with age as well, a bit like a fine wine. Some of those more sort of tree rooty essential oils will improve with age. one of the reasons I recommend essential oils to be purchased by companies that adhere to the Aromatherapy Trade Council is that council asks them to put a best before date on the essential oils, or at least a manufacture date or batch code. And I think that's really important, because you can't go in a shop and open an essential oil. They're usually caps, you know, child safety, so you can't smell how fresh it is. So always look for the batch code or the best before date that should be on there in most essential oils. I hope that helps.
Yeah, no, I've got some, I think, that are 10 years old. I should really go through it.
Yeah, I haven't checked. And they actually last a lot less long once you've blended them. And going back to my salt story, if you leave it more than a couple of days, it goes really sticky and horrible. So make sure if you're using your salt blend that you use it straight away or within 24, 48 hours. Don't mix a massive batch up and think, oh, I'll dip into that as and when. It needs a preservative. Bizarrely, even though salt is the world's biggest preservative, there's something chemical that goes on and makes it sticky and horrible. So just make it up as you go along.
Thank you.
I forgot to tell you about aroma rollers when I was talking about the inhalers. The other thing you can get from, well, I don't want to promote Amazon all the time. I think I got these from the Soap Kitchen or somewhere like that. I'll have to look back. But these are aroma rollers. So they've got a little roller ball that you can use to roll the essential oil mixed with the base oil on your skin. And that's quite fun. You can make up your own blends and roll them on as a personal perfume. I've actually added some crystals in there as well, just little crystal chips, really, just to keep the mix blended, really, just so as you turn it upside down, the crystals will help it blend. So that's another way that you can use them as well. So moving on to our final essential oil. I've lost my notes of this one, so it was the last minute, never mind. It's vetiver. Now, I would have said up until recently that the best essential oil for sleep is something called spikenard, which comes from the Jatimansi plant in India. And it's an absolute knockout. It really, really sends you into a deep sleep really quickly. But unfortunately, that plant is about to enter the endangered species list for the moment. So I'm not suggesting we go out and buy Jatimansi or spikenard at the moment. So my second best choice is vetiver, or rucus, which is the wild grown variety. It is a grass from India, but we use the root. So let's just have a sniff of vetiver and hope it doesn't put us to sleep, because this is one of the most sedative, soporific essential oils that there is. This massively brings you down to earth. So if you're someone that lives in your head a lot and you've got 1,001 ideas and you need just quiet and all of those thoughts ready for sleep, essential oil of vetiver helps to distill your thoughts, calm your thoughts, and relax and get you off into the land of Nod pretty quick. What I said at the beginning when we were talking about chamomile, so if you mix a drop of vetiver with a drop of chamomile, vetiver will get you to sleep and chamomile will help you stay asleep. It's quite a potent blend, that, really, really good. So anyone into meditation, if you don't fancy frankincense, vetiver is a great one, especially if you like to do the body scan, you know, where you go through and you relax your forehead, you relax your eyes, you know, work through and you check in with every part of your body. Vetiver is a great one to partner with that kind of work, because it does bring you into your body. It connects your head to your body, basically, and figuratively speaking, of course. It has been burned as incense, and it has a very woody aroma to it, which I love. And yeah, it helps a little bit like frankincense to deepen the breath and to calm and soothe and relax, essentially. So probably shouldn't have ended on that one, really, or maybe I should. It is 8:30 almost.
Yeah, you should.
So maybe that's the one to go to bed with. It also helps you remember your dreams. A lot of shamans use vetiver to help you with dream recall, or if you want to remember your dreams. Not that I'm anything like a shaman, of course. I've just heard that is quite a shamanic ritual to use vetiver for your dream work, which is quite nice. I'm going to flick through to see if I can find my notes to make sure I'm not shortchanging you on anything from vetiver. I don't know what's happened to them. I thought I had it in order. Obviously, I didn't. Don't know. I'm not going to let it worry me. I'm going to smell my essential oil of chamomile. I'll just go with the flow. No, I'm pretty sure that's pretty much everything for vetiver. Yeah, not to worry. Rosie.
Laura, say you were to put straight 2 drops of vetiver and 2 of chamomile at the edge of your pillow, a bit like we used to see you could do with lavender. Would that be quite safe?
It's probably quite strong, so I do maybe 1 drop of each, and I wouldn't put it on your linen because vetiver is very dark in colour and it may well stain your linen. So pop it on, and you'll see that actually when you put it even on a tissue. I haven't got much of this left because, funnily enough, I've done a workshop and sent it all out to everyone. Yeah, can you see it's quite dark?
Yes, yes. So you could put it maybe on some tissue with a bit of something underneath.
Yeah.
And then just leave it at the edge of your, beside your pillow, perhaps.
For sure. Or your little muslin bag that was in your kit. If you don't want to make an oat bath, maybe you can put the tissue inside that little muslin bag.
Oh, yes,
and keep that by the bed.
So that would, I do actually sleep quite well, but that would help me sleep and stay asleep.
Yeah.
If that was an issue.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And pretty safe, yes. Vetiver hasn't got any particular contraindications. Chamomile should also be pretty safe as well. So apart from the pregnancy thing, and elderly and children, I would always be extremely cautious around and half the amount that you would use maybe on a healthy adult, just because it's quite potent.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
My pleasure. Anybody else got any feedback or any general questions?
No, I'm definitely going to try the vetiver because I have great difficulty falling asleep. And so it's a vicious circle. I can't fall asleep till 2:33, then I can't get up till 9:30 in the morning because obviously I've not had my sleep, and it's a disturbed sleep. So today I'm definitely going to try this.
How lovely. And maybe try Gita in the bath as well if you like to have a bath, or a body oil, or even just dilute it and put it around the back of the neck. I spoke before about ear massage. I don't know if you were on that call.
I was.
Massage really, really helps as well. Okay. With soothing. So that might be a nice one to use.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I would just say, when I wash my tile floors, I use a steamer, and on the pad, I put a few drops of essential oils.
How lovely.
Smells absolutely lovely. And I discovered in my archives some geranium oil, which is probably about 10 years old. But I just discovered it on the back of a shelf. I'm not going to put it in the bath of my skin or anything. So I use it on the floor, and the house smells so lovely.
Oh, wow.
That is such a top tip.
I think I'll do that.
Thank you, Francoise. And I think it would be lovely with Chang, wouldn't it? Because it's got that kind of clean scent to use in your steam cleaner for the floor.
Using lavender, obviously, that's one of the most common ones, isn't it?
Do you know what? I forget lavender even exists. I don't know why, but I do. I think because it is so common and it's good. The one thing I'd say about lavender is it's always promoted as being calmative, which it is, unless you overuse it, and it goes the complete opposite way. It can really be stimulating and uplifting. So if you're looking for something that is going to calm you and you go for lavender, don't overuse it because it can send you the other way for sure.
Is that the same that can happen with chamomile? I don't know. Chamomile's always had the opposite effect on me, that it livens me up.
Interesting, yeah. Because it's quite clearing, Jocelyn, it can help kind of, it calms your thoughts, but it does clear your mind. So if you're sort of mentally exhausted or mentally fatigued, it can definitely have that kind of uplifting effect. Yeah, for sure.
That's what I mean. So like when I've had chamomile to relax, cup of tea, you know, chamomile tea, it doesn't. So I don't take it late. I would take it much earlier. But I'm just intrigued to know. Maybe I overdosed on it or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I'm a bit the same with lavender, if I'm honest with you, and I think that's why I'm so confused by it. I find lavender better for me to use during the day, because at night I don't get its calm properties. But that's just me personally. And we're all different. And like I said at the beginning, you know, up to 200 components in these essential oils, and we're all slightly different, so it will affect us on different levels. So the one thing I'd say about getting to know your essential oils is do like we did at the beginning, really maybe select 5 and really get to know them and how it interacts with you. So sit with them as individual oils and breathe them in, check in with how it makes you feel at different times in the day, and really get to know it and work with it, and then start to expand your catalogue of essential oils that you have. Otherwise it just becomes so overwhelming, and there's a lot of it to learn, and also don't get fatigued with them. So if you're burning them all day and all night, don't forget they get into your system. They are systemic, so your liver has to process everything that you take in. It's almost like eating them. They'll get into your bloodstream. So just be careful, you know, that you're not using it all day long. Just give yourself a break from the diffuser from time to time, or get some fresh air, and not go mad with them, but enjoy them, because they're beautiful, and in my opinion a much better alternative to synthetic fragrance. So that's just my opinion. Anything else before we wrap up?
No,
Laura, your timing is perfect.
Well
done. Thanks so much.
Listen to me going on.
No, it was a great introduction, wasn't it? I felt it was just enough, actually ample about each one as a newcomer to get my head round. And I like what you just said, get to know 5, so reflect on those.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
Having said that, I've got another 5. Is it next week? Next Tuesday?
Yeah.
So some of you may like to join me. I can't remember what's on there. I remember it being black pepper. Don't know where my head was at the time, but black pepper's on there. Ylang ylang.
Petitgrain.
Petitgrain, my time favourite.
Yeah.
Ylang ylang, clarisset.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And your bonus is Nioli for next week.
Yeah.
So you'll have 12 actually already.
Yeah.
Oh, I've forgotten to say, Peter, you asked me to do one thing which I've forgotten, and that is there's a group on the Wellbeing at Home website that you've all been invited to join, and we will upload some little flyers that tell you or remind you of the benefits of the essential oils that I've talked to you about. And then there'll also be a flyer to show you recommended retailers of the essential oils. I would try and share screen and show you where the group is. I think this might show you. So if you go onto the Wellbeing Forum and click on groups, and then the essential oils uses, benefits and workshops, it will be in there. So it will be posted in there.
And that is one of the private groups, and so that'll just be conversations just specific to the group. So you can ask Laura questions, interact with each other, whatever you want to do. So it's a private group.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Thank you so much, everyone, for indulging me.
One last thing from me. I think Stella will be hosting on location from the Park Lane Hotel in Cyprus on Saturday. She should be sending something out probably tomorrow. So hopefully we'll see everybody on Saturday. And thanks again for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, thanks, Laura.
Thank you.